Hey, welcome to the Strategic Success Podcast. I'm your host, Courtney Fricky. Thanks for tuning in.
Joe, welcome to the show, buddy.
Well, thank you. I am very excited to be here.
Hey,
Jared.
we're excited too. This is going to be a fun one.
Yes.
And if you don't laugh by the end of this, something's wrong.
Something's wrong. Yeah, so Arena has a lot of content, and this specific content, me and Courtney co-host these segments, and we just talk with residential real estate professionals just about them, about how they handle hard deals and how they market their business, because that's what we like talking about. And part of this is here to promote you. So I'm excited for more people to get to know Joe.
The man behind the mustache.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, this is relatively new though, so I don't know if I'm going to keep it or not.
It's okay. We don't have to bring as the man behind the mustache.
This is a good way to get people to know. How long does it take you to grow that mustache? Like
Only about 3 days.
Yeah, I mean, come on. You can.
Are you Italian?
I am.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
So
it tracks.
I'm Italian, French, and Lebanese. So it's like
all of that makes sense.
It's like the hairiest parts of the world, and it just like comes out here. So I've been called Mario before, but I don't know. We'll see. How
I can see that. I mean, this takes me about 8 weeks to grow, and it's like
and this takes me about 9.
yeah, patchy and not thick at all. But I just don't feel like trimming my beard every day, so I just let it ride.
I feel it.
All right, so cool. So we've gotten to know each other pretty well over the last couple of weeks, but I'm interested to know more about how you got into the real estate business and what you did before that. I know we talked a little bit about it when we were at that open house at one time. I think that has kind of got you where you're at today a little bit, and your family's in real estate. So let's talk a little bit about Joe. How did you get into the game?
Absolutely. So before real estate, I guess I'll start from the beginning.
Yeah,
right?
sure.
That's the point of this.
So when you're in your mother's room, I'm just
Bam.
kidding.
No. So I went to a small private school in Tennessee. Grew up in middle of nowhere, Georgia, basically Peachtree City. It kind of gives Terabella vibes, believe it or not.
Nice.
It was a golf cart community. And anyways, went to college, small private school in Tennessee, got a public relations degree. And then real life hit, and I was just like, well, what the heck do I do now?
Yeah.
And moved down here. So my mom's side of the family all lives in New Orleans area.
Yeah.
Okay.
So my stepdad worked on boats. He was a river pilot for a little while. And immediately went out there. And I used to be a deckhand on a ship assist tugboat.
Holy cow.
And I hated my life.
So I remember when you and I first met, you would have period of times where you'd go off and do that. Yeah.
Yeah. So I did that for probably 4 or 5 years.
Was it you that was telling me the story that you were on the river during Ida?
We'll get there.
That was you. I forgot who told me that story.
You can't give them all of it up front. We're going to get there.
That's epic.
We're going to get there. So yeah, it was a time for sure. I remember just always being like, I know, like my personality is meant for so much more than going away every other week and then coming back and just being like, well, what do I do in my life now?
Yeah.
So it was a time. I think it got to like a depressing state too. But I think that's like what life brings if you're not in something you're not supposed to be in.
Yeah.
Or if you're in something you're not supposed to be in.
Yeah, when people just go in, clock out, and they're not passionate about it, you get burned out, or you just get to that point where I feel like life's pointless.
Literally.
Right? Like I'm on the hamster wheel.
But there's also that point in everybody's life where it's a breaking point where you make a decision because you're like, literally, there's nothing, I'm not going to do this anymore. Like you make a decision in your life that you're going to look forward. I mean, I can tell you three instances off the top of my head in my life that I got to that point, and you had to get to that point for you to be able to realize, like, now it's time for me to turn around and figure something else out.
Right.
And, I'm hoping the story of you on the river and the hurricane is what gets you there.
I think it is. Okay. I think it is. I guess I'll jump into it. So I think overall what made me officially consider doing something else was my time during Ida. I mean, like I said, I was feeling depressed, and I was just away, and I don't know, like I didn't even know myself at some point, but I mean, if you're in something you're not called to do, you're going to feel like that for a reason.
Yeah.
Sure.
So,
but before you get into that, I'm going to cliffhanger here. There's got to be some part of that whole experience in your life that you are thankful for.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I'm sure it taught you a skill set. I'm sure, or it could have just been a stepping stone that like, hey, whether it taught you a skill set or, hey, it helped pay some bills. Or I met someone through it or whatever.
It was a very safe job. It, like monetary.
Yes.
I mean,
very much
in that sense.
Yeah.
So I'm definitely thankful for that. What I think I'm super thankful for is the ability it brought me to essentially be able to connect with anybody.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, that's
Meet all sorts of people.
right. I mean, it's just the exact opposite of who I am now.
I
Yeah.
married
You know?
into a maritime family, and so yeah, they're almost all of them.
Unique.
You can say that.
Yeah. So they're good people. I mean, two, I'm currently working with one of with my first mate to find a house. I sold my engineer a house.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it was an amazing
relationship, yeah.
experience, for when I was in that area.
And then
if that
I'd
makes
hit.
sense. And then I'd have hit. And then I think it was just,
So
it's time to jump.
So there was a level you felt like you were like kind of losing yourself.
Absolutely.
It was not it was a job, but maybe not the right job for
The
you.
right job.
Yeah.
So I refer to it as a calling, I guess.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And then, like I said, if you're not in something you're happy with, you have to move, or you're just there. So Ida hit. Should I get into it now?
Yeah, go. Yeah. let's hear it.
So Ida was coming, and keep in mind, like, oh, it's like, what is it now? 3 years ago, I think.
Yeah, it was in 21. So that was, 4 years ago. And what was your rotation? 1 week on, 1 week off?
I was 7 days on, 7 days off.
Okay. And it's kind of like when you're on a rotation, again, I married into maritime. It's like whether it's a holiday, you just get stuck with that schedule, good, bad, or ugly. And then obviously we have hurricane season and stuff like that. So you're on the water.
Yes. So I remember going out that week and not knowing.
Sure.
So originally Ida wasn't as bad as it.
Yeah.
It's not always heading here.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
So I remember there was something, there's always something out there.
Yeah.
So I go out, just doing my week. So I used to do 4 PMs to 4 AMs. And then it started. So we were tied up in Luling. And I think Luling got it like the worst.
Yeah, down there. Jefferson Parish.
We were tied up in
no,
Luling.
I think Luling, St. Charles. Or
Yeah, but I
something
mean, like that,
Yeah.
West Jefferson Parish, St. Charles Parish.
I don't even remember what it got to be, like a 4 or something crazy. So I remember being out there. We were tied up. I was just like, okay, it's just gonna be like a normal watch. And then it just hit. The river started like flowing upwards, and you never see that. Like that's that's like a phenomenon.
The water starts doing all sorts of crazy
Right.
things.
So the river starts flowing up. We start like just going up and down, up and down. I'm like, okay, this will be the night. And I'll just, I'll sit up here, play on my phone, check the lines every now and then, and it's just not what happened. So eventually it got worse. So barges started breaking loose coming down the river.
So you have like a massive version of a projectile that's like in the water.
Essentially.
Yeah.
Yes. Barges started breaking loose.
I do remember that.
It was insane. It was scary. So
You can see out the window watching all this happen.
barely.
Yeah.
Barely. So you hear people yelling, like you hear other
On 2 ways on like the radio.
on the radio, just on the VHF. So which is just the radio.
Yeah.
But just other mariners just yelling like so and so barges broke loose here, so and so here. Then you have the ships yelling for like help of some kind. It was the most insane experience of my life.
I can only imagine.
And then we broke loose, and then a line got caught in our wheel, and then we were just at the mercy of the river. And so I remember thinking at one point, I'm just like, you're gonna die.
Yeah.
Like you just need to start like praying, like make your peace now. It's gonna happen. So my mom was texting me. I was like, I'm not gonna respond. And like you can't see like out the river at all, like or out the windows at all, because the